All right, all right. Welcome to A New Day for You with Dr. Raul Richardson. I'm so very excited to share with you all of our wonderful listeners at Inspire You on Air, the new Beat of the Bay, Reverend David Edwards from People United Advancing the Dream. It's that time of year, folks, and he's been doing a remarkable job for some time now. And I'm grateful that he's invited me to have a little chat and allow him to speak to our listeners. So, Reverend Edwards, how you doing, my friend?
Listen, I'm fantastic, my friend. It's so good to hear you and talk to you. And thank you so much for taking time to talk with us and find out what we're doing for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. We enjoy every opportunity we have to at least chat with you and conversate so that we can get caught up.
Amen, amen. And I'm looking forward to catch up with you. It's so good to see you the other day, and I'm grateful for your willingness to participate in a new day for you on Inspire You on Air. So why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners? And for those, let me just say it like this. Let me introduce to some and present to others, because this man doesn't require a whole lot of introduction. So Reverend, tell us.
My name is David Edwards, and I am the president of People United to Advance the Dream Mobile Incorporated. And we've been in existence for some 32 years. Hosting and putting on the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. weekend celebration to include the annual march. Mm-hmm. So we are an organization that's nonprofit that is set up here in the city of Mobile to make sure that we carry out the moral integrity and standards that Dr. King stood for.
Absolutely. Now, how long have you been doing this, Pastor Edwards?
Well, I've been president since 2015, so 6 years.
Okay.
I joined the organization in 2014, and 14, I guess I became vice president, and 15, I became president.
Okay. So tell us about the history. How is it that a distinguished man of God like yourself ended up getting involved, whether it was the vice president, then elevated to the president role? Tell me about how you came to be in this position. What were some of the things that kind of catapulted you, or what was the level of the assignment that caused you to take on this role? What's the history?
Well, the history of the organization has been around since it was first March started in 1987. And some local organizations, the NOW organization, NAACP, the SCLC, they all got together here in the city of Mobile and decided that they wanted to commemorate Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. Excellent. And they did a march. And of course, and so in 1990, a few of them broke off to different, areas. And one guy, Mr. Floyd King, who was the founder, started People United to Advance the Dream. And of course, they started marching from 1990 on. And there were several people that, went with him and helped, create the organization and got it off its feet. And of course, now the last president before me, Reverend Jacob Davis, who's at transition since then, he was the president before me. And when I came in, we restructured. And we restructured and we renamed it People United to Advance the Dream Mobile Incorporated. And that means we incorporated at that time. And of course, it's always been a desire of mine to be part of something that's bigger than myself. Mm-hmm. And, anytime that you're the biggest thing in your life, then you may need to check and make sure that you're on the right road.
Understood. All right, well, that's wonderful, man. And so now here it is, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. It's 2022. Happy New Year, by the way, brother. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
Yes,
it's good to be here.
Yeah. So where are we? What's going on today? What's the current identity of the organization? And, where are we at? Tell me what's going on.
In our secular, in our community, and in our circle of life, we find ourselves most of the time being attracted or pulling towards those that can see things our way. And as we get older and I say that with all, respect.
Mm.
As we get older, we tend to, gravitate to people that can see things our way. Well, the organization's main purpose now and objective is to reach the young people, and to convince them to, first of all, to stop the violence. Okay, that's our main focus. We want to bring about peace in our community, in all communities, as
Mhm.
Dr. King did when he marched. He marched for nonviolence. And because of all the violence that we find going on in our community, not just today, but yesterday, week before that, and in 2015 as well. But it has escalated. So that means that we've got to be more intentional at bringing about awareness, solutions, and answers to the violence. So what we've decided to do as an organization is to reach the young people, to help them to bring about a more clearer understanding of how to do conflict resolutions and things of this nature that causes them to want to act out, to provide social and economic activities and promote civic and human rights. You see, when you educate someone on something, then they'll understand it. If they're not educated on how to do it, then they won't understand how to do it. And our whole purpose and goal is, as Dr. King did, was to educate people on how to accomplish the goal without the violence. So that's People's United to Advance the Dream Mobile Incorporated main objective at this point.
Wow, and that's a significant and important accomplishment to achieve. So
Absolutely.
So how are you efforting to do that? What things in the community are going on that are going to be essential to you accomplishing this mission?
Well, first of all, our first aim is to advance the vote.
Mhm.
Okay. Without the vote, you have no voice. So we've got to help and educate our youth, our young people, those people that's coming up, that's going to be more active and become more due diligent in the voting process. We've got to educate them on what to vote for, how to go and vote, what's the status of the voting, how to find out what's going on in your local election, what the candidates stand for. These are the different things that people don't understand. They just vote for a person because of their political party. They vote for a person because of their popularity, but they don't really understand what they're voting for. So our main objective is to advance the vote. Okay. Then we've got to dispel and diminish the disparity that's in the communities. Most of the communities that suffer the most are the Black and brown communities. So those are the communities that need the most focus on. So what our organization has done is to create programs that we can reach out into the community and begin to help those that lack those tools that they need to accomplish it with. For instance, to educate the people, we have a program that we are accepting gently used laptops. When we accept those gently used laptops, then of course we have a partner that we're partnered with, that they take and they clean the laptop from any information on it, and we donate them to youth, single parents, and people that need a computer in order to be able to do things, go to school, get their education, get their diploma, and of course be able to do things that they wouldn't normally be able to do because they don't have the means to do it with.
Understood.
The other thing that we do is also we gather students from all high schools that's in the city of Mobile. And we invite them to send 2 students each year to travel with us to Selma.
Really?
To do the bridge crossing for the annual Selma Bridge crossing, the Jubilee they call it now.
Mhm.
but it was called Bloody Sunday then. So we asked for 2 students to go with us. When we take those students to Selma, what we do is we give them a tour of the Voters' Rights Museum. And that Voter Rights Museum give them an idea of what happened on that Bloody Sunday, that Dr. King and all those other brave people came across that Edmund Pettus Bridge and was intentional and going to vote, where they were stopped by the police, dogs, water hoses, and all. So they get a firsthand look at what it took to get to the right to vote. And also, they get to cross that same bridge. They get to talk with people that may have been there during that time. They get to conversate with people that they didn't know and hear stories that they never thought they would hear. So
Wow.
they get an ideal of what happened to get the right to vote for Black people. And what we require them to do is to come back and do a documentary on it. And so that documentary is part of the next phase of what People United to Advance the Dream Mobile Incorporated is doing, so that we can be able to give out scholarships to students that aspire to go on to further their education in either the arts, broadcasting, any type of field like that, that will give them an opportunity to come back to their own city with an internship at one of the local TV stations. When they come back to their own city with an internship at one of the local stations, that means, Doc, that they'll tell you the name of that street and they don't have to mispronounce it. In other words, they'll come back and be a beacon in the community that they grew up in,
Wow,
the
that's
community that
fantastic,
sold
man.
into them. Absolutely.
So essentially what you're doing is you're looking to mitigate the violence in our community, which of course is admirable, inform the perspective of the young people, which provides them a connection to a past that they may not have otherwise been informed about, improve and
Absolutely.
enhance their educational experience, and at the same time, give them a real live moment on that Selma and the Edmund Pettus Bridge that provides them real kind of a fabric that'll be kind of woven into them. So with all of
Absolutely.
that you got going on, what's the future look like? I mean, what kind of events do you have coming up prior to the Edmund Pettus Bridge crossing and these engagement with the students and giving out the laptops, gently used laptops? What else you got coming up? I know the King Day celebration is almost upon us.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's 10 days away at this point or less. But
Yes.
what we have going on for 2022 this year is we're starting our celebration on Thursday, the 13th this year.
Mm-hmm.
And on that Thursday, what we have is what we call the Dr. Martin Luther King Community Connect. We use the USA campus out at South. We use the student ballroom, and they're so wonderful to accommodate us for this event. And we have what's called a panel of individuals that's going to be there to talk about our theme for this year, which is advancing equity. And when they talk about our theme for this year, what that's going to do is allow students and all those that attend the engagement to ask questions about how we advance equity. What does equity look like? How can we move into a place where there's equal pay for equal work? How can we move to a place where there's equal housing for equal people? How can we move into a place where there's equal equity for everybody? So
Wow. So
that's
that's on the
going to be the
13th. You're going
focus.
to be doing that at USA on the campus in the ballroom there with
That's
the panel
correct.
discussion.
That's exactly right. And of
Okay.
course, that's open to the general public. It's free, doesn't cost you anything to come, and we will have refreshments on that night. It
What
begins
time
at
does it
6
start on
p.m.
the 13th? 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then
So
what do you
that
have
means you
after
don't have
that?
to go home.
What do you have
That
after that?
means
That's a
on
weekend
Friday
meeting
night,
right there. Yeah.
yeah. Well, see, that's why we're doing it on a Thursday, because we want the students to be able to participate. See, the students don't get out of school until after Friday,
Mm-hmm.
because they will be off on that weekend because it's a Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. So we're doing that on the Thursday, so we'll have the student participation more. And of course, on Friday, we're going to do what's called a gathering to reflect and a march to protect. That's going to be held at Lad People Stadium at 5:30 on Friday evening.
Okay.
We're gathering to reflect, meaning that we're going to have a candlelight vigil so we can remember those that have lost their lives due to gun violence here in the city of Mobile. And
Wow.
of course, we're marching to protect the voting right. We're marching around Ladd Stadium to protect the voting rights bill that's sitting in the Senate that will not pass because they're holding it up in order to change the voting laws so that people will be disenfranchised and misrepresented in the voting process. So we're having a Friday night gathering to reflect and marching to protect, beginning at 5:30 on Friday evening at Ladd People Stadium.
And then what happens? What you got going on the rest of the weekend?
Then what happens is on that Sunday evening, we have a black tie awards gala. That's where we acknowledge and admonish local people in the community that has made a difference in somebody's life and something they do to help somebody else. We look for people that we can honor as a humanitarian, as a community service award. We look for people we can honor in the health and human service area. We look for people we can help in the educational area.
Sure.
And of course, finally, we also acknowledge and honor those people that have been what you call a drum major. That's what Dr. King called them. And we honor one drum major each year. Now, we don't leave out our youth. We have a student from the elementary, middle, high, and college level that we honor with the People United to Advance the Dream Mobile Incorporated, Dr. Martin Luther King Youth Ambassador Award. And that's given to one student from each level of education, elementary, middle, high, and college.
Wow,
and we honor them on that night.
Fabulous.
Absolutely.
And I tell you, I'm so grateful. And for those of you just tuning in, speaking with Reverend David Edwards, the president of People United to Advance the Dream, coming up on the King Day celebration with a series of events starting Thursday evening into a march on Friday, and then a banquet on Sunday. And then, of course, Monday is the holiday.
Monday is the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King's actual birthday. And we kick it off early that morning. Those same students that we honor on Sunday night with the Youth Ambassador Awards, we have a breakfast for them on that Monday morning at 8:30 at the Dearborn Street YMCA. So we give them breakfast, and they have their peers, their classmates, students that go to their school. They can come and have breakfast with them. And we have a panel of guests that will be able to speak to them, to those students, and of course, answer questions for those students, give answers to those students to whatever issues they may be challenging or facing in their school, in their community, or even in their home personal lives. We speak to bullying, we speak to gun violence, we speak to peer pressure, all those areas where, sometimes we forget that we were once young once we get a certain age, Yes. And of course, and it's just a human thing. It's not a put down, but it's a human thing. When you get so far in life, you forget where you were at 8, 12, 15, and 18 years old. So what has to happen is we've got to intentionally address these issues that's coming up in that generation so that they'll be able to be successful and be productive in their lives in what they do. So we'll have a breakfast that Monday morning beginning at 8:30. After we finish with the breakfast and they've had a good time and we've answered some questions, given them some answers and solutions to the issues that they face, then we get prepared for the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. March. Now we're outside, we're making posters. The college students are helping with the posters, getting the kids ready so that we'll be able to march at 12 noon. When the clock strikes 12, we take off down Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, and we're marching into Zion. We march until we get to Lions Park. When we get to Lions Park, is where we burst out and we have what's called the Stop the Violence rally. And that rally is going to be focused intentionally and purposely on the voting rights and protecting the rights of the voters from all sectors of life. Dr. King would just happen to be a Black man. He was for civil rights for all mankind.
Well, Doctor, I tell you, I'm so glad you were able to share this with us, and I know we only have a minute left. So if you would, I know you want to share some of your sponsors that are involved. So can you do that in about 30 seconds?
Absolutely. The city of Mobile is our #1 sponsor. Okay. Stand Up Mobile, NAACP, Northside Check Exchanges. Man, there's so many sponsors. Cumulus Broadcasting. We've got numerous sponsors that I can't name them all without looking at a list, to be honest with you. So
Well,
what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Larch Mobile, the Mobile Marriott, the Holiday Inn, Pain Stop Spine Clinic. You know, it's so many sponsors and so
well,
many partners.
well,
And so we just appreciate them.
well, we've reached the end of our time, but I'm so grateful that you were able to join us, and I'm looking forward to joining you at some of these events. And for those of you that are interested, please check out our social media platforms and join us. Come and get engaged, get involved, get educated. And I want to thank you so much, Pastor David Edwards, President of People United to Advance the Dream, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raul, and God bless you. We appreciate it. Check us out on our Facebook page, People United to Advance the Dream, Mobile Incorporated.
You bet, man. Thank you so much. Look forward to
Thanks a
talking
lot.
shortly and look forward to being with you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank
And
you.
we're going to get right back to it. This is a new day for you with Dr. Raul Richardson, with Reverend David Edwards, President of People United to Advance the Dream. Get ready for your King Day celebration. He's got quite an outstanding event lineup set up for young people to be informed, engaged, and members of our community to reflect on the significant accomplishments that were accomplished within a lifetime of Dr. Martin Luther King, and continue forward today with People United Advancing the Dream, Mobile Incorporated. Thank you, kind sir. And I'll talk to you real soon. Take care.
Real soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, are we finished?
Just about.